Yeah, some great weather. Thanks a lot. Well, if you love history, particularly as it relates to Richmond, you're going to want to meet our guest today. Heath Lee is the author of Winnie Davis, Daughter of the Lost Cause. And this is about Jefferson Davis's youngest daughter and what happened to her after the Civil War. Thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks for having me.
Let's just first talk about, I had no idea, but Winnie Davis led such an interesting life. And it's a really good question. What happened to these kids after the war was over?
Yes, well, Winnie did have a very interesting, kind of epic and tragic life. After the war, they fled Richmond, of course, when at the very end of the war. So Winnie flees with her mother when she's basically an infant, and then she goes on eventually to German boarding school. She comes back from German boarding school, and she becomes the daughter of the Confederacy in 1886 and becomes a symbol for Confederate veterans of what we call the Lost Cause.
And I think one of the tragedies she had to deal with was she fell in love with a Northerner.
Yes.
They wanted to get married.
Yes.
But I guess it was just too controversial.
It was a scandal. It was a true Richmond scandal of the 19th century that Winnie falls in love with Fred Wilkinson, who is a Northern lawyer. He is a Harvard graduate, very good-looking, nice family, but his grandfather is a famous abolitionist. So this does not go over well in Richmond at the time. The wounds of the war are still too fresh, so it does not work out, sadly. But she goes on to have a very interesting life in New York, working for Joseph Pulitzer at the World newspaper. So she's a real career woman and has to support herself.
Yeah, absolutely. Her life certainly changed. Well, and you've got a couple of events coming up so that people can hear you talk more about this. One of them is going to be on C-SPAN.
Yes, that's right. August 23rd at 6, and that was a talk I did at the Museum of the Confederacy on June 28th, and Winnie was born in the White House of the Confederacy, so this was a very appropriate place for C-SPAN to film the talk, and it'll be on History TV.
And then you're going to be speaking at St. Catherine's School, which is your alma mater, right?
It is. It's wonderful to go back there, and I'll be speaking for Hollywood Cemetery, and Hollywood is where Winnie and all her family is buried. So Hollywood's been very supportive of my book from the beginning, and I'm excited to do a talk for them in October.
Okay, well, you have the information there, so thank you so much for telling us about it. Can't wait to read the book.
Thank you.
You bet. And we'll be back right after this.